I'm Karla Murray, one of the co-founders of Fiction Profits Academy. And what I'm about to share, it isn't another get-rich-quick story. This took me years. Lots of mistakes and lots of learning as I went. But if you're feeling stuck financially like I was, this might show you a path that you hadn't considered. I'm going to share the exact strategy that took me from being a broke yoga teacher to helping over 15,000 people create income streams that they never thought possible. I'll share the lessons I've learned, the mistakes that almost destroyed my business, and why this opportunity is actually bigger today than when I started. But first, let me take you back to where it all began, because without understanding how desperate I was, you won't appreciate how this one discovery literally saved me. In 2013, I was a full-time yoga teacher making around $3,000 per month, and my amazing son was only a year and a half old at that time. And as a mom, I was constantly trying to balance childcare with needing to earn more money. I was pretty maxed out at the work I was doing, teaching 20 plus yoga classes a week, and I wasn't making enough to really get ahead. I had a lot of debt piling up, and I just knew that there had to be a better way of doing things. My worst moment was going to the grocery store with my crying baby, trying to just buy basic groceries, and having my credit card declined at the register. Standing there with other people in line behind me, I was feeling just embarrassed and defeated. And that's when I knew something had to change. So I became obsessed with researching ways to make money online. Every night after my son went to sleep, I'd be on my laptop, just trying to figure out solutions for my situation. And one night I went to YouTube and I typed in how to make money online. A video came up that was talking about different ways to make money, and one of them was publishing ebooks. I'd never heard of that before. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So I started looking into that. So here I was, this broke yoga teacher who'd never heard of ebook publishing. But you know what? Sometimes the best opportunities come when you're willing to try something completely outside your comfort zone. I know this sounds dramatic, but what I discovered next really did change my destiny, but it almost didn't work. And that's where the real story begins. I took this really basic intro course on publishing ebooks. And the whole idea of publishing ebooks that I never had to write, it was absolutely mind-blowing to me. I was thinking, wait, how's that even possible? Well, it turns out you can hire ghostwriters to write these books for you. So I started with some nonfiction, got a few writers, published my first books on Amazon under pen names, and then waited and waited. And eventually money started trickling in. About $600 per month. So not a lot, but I remember thinking, this is kind of cool. And for the first time in months, I had some hope. But then I hit a wall. Sure, I was making a little bit, but I knew there was way more potential here. I just had to figure out what I was missing. So I became obsessed with studying Amazon's bestseller lists. And that's when I noticed that fiction books were absolutely dominating. And not just any fiction. Romance books were everywhere at the top of the charts. I thought, well, why not try romance? I mean, if that's what's selling, right? So I pivoted completely. I started hiring ghostwriters specifically for romance novels, and I published them under pen names. That single decision changed my life. The difference was practically night and day. After about a year of focusing on romance, I was consistently making $10,000 a month from my books. And that's when I say the momentum really started building. It was incredible. I was actually one of the first people to focus on romance publishing in this space. And at this point, I could have just kept this goldmine to myself and just made money quietly. But something else started brewing that I wasn't expecting at all. And this is where my background as a yoga teacher really came into play. So I was part of a few Facebook groups where people were publishing ebooks and sharing results. And one day I shared my story about how I'd finally cracked the code to consistently making $10K a month with romance books. The response was insane. People were messaging me nonstop, wanting to know exactly how I did it. And having taught yoga for so long, being a teacher is a huge part of who I am. And the idea of helping people and serving people, it just really appealed to me. I started doing some one-off coaching here and there, and that started to get momentum and take on a life of its own because the people I was teaching, they were replicating my results. And Nick, he was my very first student, and within just a few months, he hit 10K a month, and he was able to leave his job in finance to work from home and spend more time with his family. And then Jillian came along. She also crossed that 10K monthly mark, but she didn't stop there. Almost every few months, she just kept breaking her own record. It was totally wild to watch. And she did so well that she's actually one of our coaches inside FPA now. And more people, they just started to get results. I realized I needed to create something more structured, that I just couldn't keep doing random one-off calls, that people needed a proper system and a real program that they could follow step by step. And that's when I started developing what would eventually become Fiction Profits Academy. The core of what I teach is how to build a profitable publishing business using ghostwriters to create fiction novels that sell on Amazon. So I show people how to find profitable niches, hire the right writers, create covers that convert, and most importantly, how to market these books to build recurring income. And by the middle of 2016, I had enough confidence in my system and enough demand from people that wanted to learn that I officially launched Fiction Profits Academy. I was 39 years old, not some young tech prodigy just starting out. I also wasn't tech savvy at all. I kind of just knew enough to get by, and honestly, I still feel that way. And from 2015 to 2020, I was running FPA almost as a side hustle. I was still teaching yoga sometimes, trying other business ventures, basically just keeping my options open while slowly building this coaching business one person at a time. But I had no idea that my biggest test was coming, one that would either destroy everything I'd built or transform it into something that I never imagined possible. Now, I have to be brutally honest about some mistakes that I made that almost killed my business. Success can make you think that you can do anything, and I definitely fell into that trap. I briefly tried to start a supplement company with a friend who's a naturopathic doctor. She had the product, I had the internet marketing experience from my publishing and coaching business, and we just jumped in without really understanding how expensive that business is to start. And I ended up investing tens of thousands of dollars into that business, and I lost it all. At the same time, I was running a Facebook ads agency for authors, so helping people who publish fiction ebooks get more sales. That's actually how I met my now business partner, Roy. He was one of my clients, and I couldn't believe how much money he was making using what he had learned from me. By 2020, I was spread too thin. The supplement company was bleeding money, the ads agency was just okay, and FPA wasn't reaching its potential. And I was still teaching yoga a bit during COVID. It felt like I was failing at everything. That's when Roy approached me, and he built a 7-figure publishing business based on my training. And he said, hey, do you want to partner? We can really go all in with FPA, figure out this whole YouTube ads and marketing thing. I said yes, but it meant the scariest decision of my life because it meant letting go of all of my backup stuff I had going on. So no more supplement company, no more ads agency, no more publishing my own books. We were going all in on FPA or bust. This was the most terrifying period of my entire journey because for the first time, I had no safety net. It was do or die trying, and we gave ourselves no other options. Going all in felt like jumping off a cliff. Roy and I, we were both committed, but we had no idea what we were doing with online course marketing at scale. We reached a ceiling where we were spending massive amounts of money on ads and seeing almost no return. We ended up buying a course on how to sell courses, and we went as far as spending $300,000 just trying to break into this space. We were working insane hours 7 days a week, and watching our personal money disappear was terrifying. I remember having a specific conversation where I told Roy, I don't know if I can do this anymore, but he basically told me to toughen up because we weren't gonna quit, and thank God for that. In fall 2021, we brought on 2 partners because we just kept hitting growth ceilings and we didn't know what we didn't know. So someone I knew had helped scale online businesses before, so we brought him and another person on board. 2022 was a decent year, but in 2023, we almost went completely broke. After all that growth, all those partners, we were on the verge of losing everything. There were nights I couldn't sleep, wondering if I'd made the biggest mistake of my life. The stress was overwhelming. But sometimes you have to go through hell to get to the other side. And what happened next proved that every moment of struggle was worth it. Today, Fiction Profits Academy is a completely different company. We've served over 15,000 students with over 2,600 Trustpilot reviews, averaging about 4.7 stars and a Better Business Bureau rating of 4.8 stars out of 5. Here's how FPA actually works nowadays. We're a mentorship program providing one-on-one coaching and live group coaching 5 days a week. We have a boot camp also for people who need some extra help and a little more hand-holding with tech and business stuff. And our entire platform has dozens of training videos, something I'm really proud of after 9 years of perfecting our system. We also have this incredibly active Facebook group where we answer questions for people who might be a little shy about getting on live calls. And the community aspect is huge because publishing, it can feel a bit isolating. And when I look at our reviews, I get emotional. People are genuinely loving their experience and just changing their lives. Of course, we get the occasional negative review. That's the nature of online education, but we genuinely care about our students' success. What really matters isn't just the business metrics. It's what this journey taught me about resilience, about betting on yourself, and about the power of helping other people win. The mindset shift that saved my business was this. When you encounter something that feels like a roadblock, don't go, I can't, I don't know how, this is too hard. Instead, ask yourself, what do I need to learn here? How is this trying to make me stronger? Because obstacles are guaranteed to come up, so you might as well be ready for them. Be excited about them because they're showing you exactly where you need to grow. You're on this path for a reason. So we've been obsessed with being ethical, not over-promising, and delivering everything that we say we will. And this focus on integrity has been everything. Now you might be wondering, okay, Karla, that's a great story, but is this still possible today? Is the opportunity still there? Let me tell you why I'm more excited about this industry now than when I started. The ebook market is still growing massively. So during COVID, all of my students' businesses improved because they're in entertainment, providing low-cost entertainment when people needed it most. To prove this still works, Roy recently decided to get back into publishing. He went on Upwork, hired writers, and he had published his first romance novel in a while. It's making around $150 a day in profit, and he said it's easier than he remembered. Now, Roy's extremely experienced, so don't expect those results immediately. But in one day, he hired 3 writers, a cover designer, and an editor. So the infrastructure to succeed is better than ever. Romance, it makes up 50% of Amazon's fiction market. That's why 95% of our students focus on romance. These readers are voracious. Some of them read a new romance novel every single night. And that's why we teach building your own audience and email list. You're not just selling one book. You're building a relationship with readers who will buy everything that you publish. So if you're looking for ways to make extra money from home, this is an incredible opportunity. More people than ever are searching for location-independent income. I didn't start until I was 37 years old. I launched FPA at 39, and 9 years later, I'm still not tech savvy. Age doesn't matter. Tech skills aren't required. So what matters is being willing to learn, willing to push through challenges, and willing to help people along the way. I know what you're thinking. Okay, but how do I actually do this? What are the specific steps to start making money with ebooks on Amazon? That's exactly why you need to watch Roy's video next, how to make $10,000 a month selling digital ebooks on Amazon. So he breaks down the entire process, the tools you'll need, and how you can get started even if you've never published anything before. Click here to watch it now, and let's see if this could be the path that changes your life like it changed mine.